Hi everybody, welcome to your weekly Tech Update, the show that explores the newest, coolest, and sometimes mind-boggling side of tech available on the interwebs. I'm your MC, Ray McNeal. Coming up in the program today, Swansea University is going to trial a smart 5G connected bandage within the next year. Adidas is back in the news with the very cool Futurecraft 4D shoe. And in this week's What The?, an intoxicated man takes down a 300-pound security droid in where else but Mountain View, California. All that and much more coming up on your weekly Tech Update next. In this week's medical news, bandages which can detect how a wound is healing and then send messages back to doctors could be trialed within the next 12 months, scientists have said. The bandages would use real-time 5G technology to monitor what treatment is needed and also keep track of a patient's activity levels. The work is being led by Swansea University's Institute of Life Science. It forms part of the $1.3 billion Swansea Bay City deal, which aims to create a 5G test hub for digital innovation. Professor Mark Clement, chairman of the Institute of Life Science, said 5G is an opportunity to produce resilient, robust bandwidth that is always there for the purpose of healthcare. That intelligent dressing uses nanotechnology to sense the state of the wound at any one specific time. It would connect that wound to a 5G infrastructure, and that infrastructure through your telephone will also know things about you, like where you are, how active you are at any one time, and so forth. You combine all of that intelligence so the doctor knows the performance of the specific wound at any specific time, and can then tailor the treatment protocol to the individual and wound in question. What the future holds is a world where there's the ability to vary the treatment to the individual and, of course, not be able to lie to your doctor anymore. The lifestyle and the pattern of life also going to be abundantly clear to your doctors. Experts in nanotechnology would develop the tiny sensors, while 3D printers at ILS would be used to produce the bandages, which would bring down the costs. Professor Clement said experts at the Welsh Wound Innovation Center are also involved in the project, and trials would go through the Arch Wellness and Innovation Project. The U.S. Navy has banned electronic cigarettes and vaping devices throughout the entire fleet, citing concerns that the battery-powered gadgets can explode and injure sailors. The new rule suspends the use, possession, storage, and charging of electronic nicotine delivery systems aboard ships, submarines, aircraft, boats, and heavy equipment, all according to a Navy press release. The prohibition applies to sailors, Marines, military sealift command civilians, and any personnel working on or visiting those units. This new policy is in response to the continued reports of explosions of e-cigs due to the overheating of lithium-ion batteries. Multiple sailors have suffered serious injuries from these devices, to include first and second-degree burns and even facial disfigurement. The prohibition takes effect 30 days from the release of the new policy. The ban means that devices must be completely removed from the fleet by the compliance date. The Navy calls the ban a suspension while officials review safety concerns. Between October 2015 and present, the Safety Center has lodged 31 incidents of sailors being injured by exploding batteries, some seriously, according to the Navy statistics. Many of those incidents occurred on Navy ships, and at least 2 required the use of shipboard firefighting equipment to extinguish fires. Many occurred while the e-cigarette was in a sailor's pocket, resulting in first and second-degree burns. At least 2 sailors have had their e-cigarettes blow up in their mouths, resulting in facial and dental injuries. It's difficult to tell how many sailors use e-cigarettes. In recent testimony, the Air Force Surgeon General told Congress that about 5% of airmen use the products. E-cigarettes can explode and cause injuries when the batteries overheat and expand, which can turn your vaping device into a mini IED. The issue of overheating batteries has been one that e-cigarette makers have tracked closely, with major companies taking steps to make their products more safe. Recent research shows that in about 80% of cases where the battery overheats, well, it happens when the device is charging and being charged incorrectly or was charged with a different charger. Altria is the parent company of tobacco giant Philip Morris. The company's e-cigarettes, including the Mark 10, come with chargers with unique connectors that are the only way to charge the device, making it impossible to charge your device with, say, a cell phone charger that wasn't designed for the task, which has happened several times with these explosions. Altria was participating in an upcoming workshop with the Food and Drug Administration, which is looking into the battery issue and adding new ways to regulate the product and, of course, make them safer. Adidas has announced its latest chapter of its ongoing Futurecraft project, the Futurecraft 4D. The initiative kicked off in late 2015 with a 3D printed midsole that showed the idea of tailoring a shoe to the specific needs of an individual's foot. Since then, Futurecraft has ushered in several more concept-proving releases, like the Made in Germany Futurecraft MFG and a collaborative sneaker made from recycled ocean plastic. The Futurecraft 4D was created in partnership with California-based Carbon, who introduced Adidas to a new technology called digital light synthesis. Adidas was able to create over 50 different lattices for the midsole before landing on the current design. Carbon's programmable liquid resin platform uses light to create the shape of the sole, then uses heat to set it, allowing the team to create a print from scratch. The shoe is set to launch with numbers of 500 before a fall 2017 launch with numbers up to 5,000. No word on price, but if you have to ask. And more in the way of robotic news this week, scientists have created palm-sized swimming robots made of soft, transparent silicone. They're tiny, squishy, and equipped with video cameras. And they could one day be used for underwater surveillance or research, or by some creep who wants to look at your junk in the swimming pool. The nearly invisible robotic creature, described in a paper published in the journal Science Advances, resembles a tiny manta ray. It has flexible silicone fins stretched over an acrylic frame and 2 electrodes. One sits inside the robot's body, sandwiched between 2 sheets of muscle made of a polymer that shrinks when electricity runs through it. The other electrode is the water itself. When the scientists hook the little robot up to an electrical current, the electricity causes the polymer muscle to flex. That allows the bot's fins to flap and the silicone body to twist. That, well, propels the robot forward, swimming a lot like a manta ray does. In fact, the manta ray is what inspired its shape. The little Raybot can move surprisingly quickly, more than 5 inches per second, when hooked up to an electrical tether. For scale, that's more than the length of its body in a second, and faster than a rainbow trout, which averages less than 4 inches per second. Replacing the tether with the battery pack gives the robot more freedom to roam, but adding the battery slows the little bot to half speed. The study doesn't really specify exactly what the tiny robot could be used for. The interest to create aquatic robots is further fueled by the mounting importance of oceanic missions, the study says. Maybe these robots will be used for surveillance or underwater research. Either way, they're mighty cool.